Yes, guys, welcome back to SFeatleyTV. We're here for another episode of F1's Perfect Formula, going through some of the legendary cars that have existed in Formula One. Sorry for the mix-up earlier. The video, the match reaction was supposed to be at 4. We did it at 1:30 because the hospital decided to tell me at the last minute they need a blood transfusion as well. Right, because they've made this weird decision to not give me my blood results, or I have to go ask someone else for my blood results. So yeah, it's pain in the ass, but at least now it's done. I shouldn't have to have that again for a while. But yeah, please do hit that like button. Do hit that subscribe button, please. Share it on all your socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, share it. But yeah, I apologize for being in the hospital early, but oh well, we still did it for you, and we still got it done. So, and share on your socials and donate. Donate to Children's Liver Disease Foundation via the Just Giving page link as usual. Especially, that's the best way to do it. If you want to do it, that's the best way to do it. I'm going to put join the show as well. So I'm going to open the lines up straight away. So don't worry. Join the... Oh, why does it do that? Why you... Oh, my love of Christ. Why does it do that all the time? Pain in the ass, honestly. There we go. Now it's in. There you go. Links in the chat. Well, unless you're on Twitch. But yeah, do smash that subscribe button and share button, please. And please do that now. So the car we're going to be looking at this week is the Lotus 49. Now, what is the Lotus 49? For people that don't know about what the Lotus 49 is, was one of the revolutionary cars back in the 60s. It was legendary for these reasons, and I'm going to go into a little bit more. So, Lotus 49. So yeah, let me just see if sorry. I get itching everywhere, man. Honestly. But yeah, we're gonna look at the Lotus 49, and so I don't know about them. Smash. So I'll give you a brief look at what the car is. So this was the Lotus 49 in itself. Now, for people that don't know F1, it looks very different to the cars that we have now. It was basically based on tubeless space frame chassis, making them light as possible. Because back in them days, the cars usually had about the same amount of power, and they knew nothing of aerodynamics at the time. They knew more about mechanical grip. Was back in them days. So what do? You make it lighter, because the lighter you make it, the faster the power to weight ratio is, the faster you go. So, and for designers, Colin Chapman, who designed cars for Lotus under the name Lotus, he was a pioneer in this. He took things to extremes, and when I go about the Lotus 49, I'm going to give you a brief description about Colin Chapman, because we could quite easily use him as an F1 legend, right? And yeah, so I'm just going to give you just a little bit of background. So Colin Chapman was like the birth child of some of the greatest cars for Lotus, and the 49 was one of his masterpieces. The problem is, as much as he was a great designer, he took things to beyond its limits, and way beyond his limits. He would make the cars so light that they would easily break, right? So his career didn't really span that much racing, so he developed into designing cars. Such innovation as ground effect, and which came later after the Lotus 49. But the main thing for the 49 was how the engine and the chassis were built as integrated units. So they were built to fit each other. So that way it makes the whole car stronger but lighter. And they knew nothing of carbon fiber back then. So to make it lighter and stronger, they integrated the engine and the chassis together. So it becomes a much more stronger car and easier car to drive, because you can push on it a bit more without it breaking, but you would also be able to have the speed advantage, because, like I said, the engines were pretty much the same for every team. They were pretty much the same, and he got the Ford team for this car to build the powerhouse engine that would fit around the chassis. If we look at some images of the car, you can see, look, how the car was built. Look how the engine is built to fit on the car. Everything is built to fit the car, right? So it's I've got to show you the image, and I do smash that like button and subscribe button. Right, we're on our way to 1.1k. Please do smash that like button and subscribe button. This evening, we've got a nice fun show to do, which is discussing which was the best Arsenal team ever. We're going to look at each one, their record, and yeah, then sort of make our own combined 11 and everything. So you can see how, so like in this image here, right? Nope. Go back. Like how, like, Sorry. Yeah, so the Ford engine is completely integrated, and that makes the whole thing stronger in itself. So when it then took to the track, it dominated the field. I think actually Graham Hill, I think in the Monaco Grand Prix, lapped the entire field with this car, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken, but he lapped the entire field with it. So I'm just gonna ask her. Yeah, I'm just but yeah, it just absolutely destroyed the field with how much lighter it could be because it was so much stronger, and because of that, you have more power to weight ratio. More power to weight ratio means you go faster and you'll be able to gain speed a lot quicker, and accelerate a lot easier because there's less weight holding you down. So revolutionary again. It's like the Cooper beforehand where they switched the front engine to the back. For these times, it may not look like revolutionary in our days, where we have the supercomputer, the hybrid systems, and all these massive, all these great, these great. Oh, what am I trying to say? Yeah, it's not like how we have all these great systems now, how to race the car with all these modes and settings and everything like that. Back in them days, this was revolutionary stuff. Just to integrate the whole thing together, moving the engine from the front to the back was revolutionary because they knew nothing about it. They knew nothing about aerodynamics when it came in, right? So the first aerodynamics on the cars were just massive wings, right? Unlike the reformed thing we see here, right? Which is when teams could really take it because like they started getting sponsors on the car, right? Back then, right, you would have massive poles like this, look, like that, and even then they would take it to extremes. I mean, well, one race, Colin Chapman. I remember watching one race where Colin Chapman he put a massive amount more wings on the rear of this car to try and give him more downforce because they thought if you had more downforce, you go faster around corners, you'll be faster. So he did that, but then because the amount of pressure it put on the rear suspension and the rear wing, it caved the rear wing inward and into the suspension and smashed the suspension, and they go flying into a wall. Graham Hill managed to get out okay. Jochen Rindt, who replaced Jim Clark after he died, was lucky to get out alive. Right, he came out with a broken nose. Right, so but obviously the main man driving the Lotus 49 was Graham Hill because this car didn't come out until 1967, and in 1968 it was going to be like Jim Clark, the main who was his just as like a star as Graham Hill was supposed to be like he was supposed to be the one leading them forward, and it was one that Colin Chapman probably had the closest relationship to. And unfortunately, at Hockenheim, in about second or third race in that car, in an F2 race, he perished at Hockenheim, and because of I think it was the deflating tire. Well, as far as Graham Hill thought it was, that's what he thought it was. So we can never know because back then you didn't film the whole race live. You didn't have the race that like filmed from every angle. So it was only just like highlights, and it didn't have like great graphics that we see nowadays. So yeah, it was hard to work out sometimes who was at pole position and who was leading the race and everything. So yeah, man, just it's yeah, just good. So yeah, don't forget this weekend is Grand Prix week. We have got F1 practice tomorrow, F1 practice 1, F3 practice 2 later on in the in at lunchtime. Then we've got the England. Then Saturday for the F1 we've got Saturday practice 3. Then the qualifying. Then the race. So we're covering all aspects of the Grand Prix, right? From practice sessions to qualifying to the race. We're covering everything this week because we've got the time to. So we're going to give that to you. If we've got the time to, we'll be giving it to you. So that's what we're going to be doing. So make sure you check out that and do smash that like button and subscribe button. Right, come on, share this out. Right, I'm going to share it right now. If I can get the link, if I'll get the link. Actually, no. Um, no. Tell you what, I tweeted the wrong thing. Idiot. Oh well. So yeah, let me just have a look. YouTube. Share that. Make sure you share it. Share that right now. Right, done. Shared, done. Let's go. Smash the like button. Smash the like button right now. Right, come on, let's get the likes up. But yeah, make sure you keep tuning in. Yeah, so the Lotus 49 was perfect. It was perfect to run because it was built originally without aerodynamics. Then obviously aerodynamics came in and my and they adapted the car so forth with to try and but whilst they were planning a new car in as well, which would have been the 72, which refined everything, right, and was much more advanced. So just gonna go through some of the statistics on the Lotus 49. So it was made out of aluminium rather than like what we have now, which is carbon fiber, which made it more lighter, which made it light as it could be compared to our carbon fiber, which is seemingly lighter. had about 440 brake horsepower in total, and revved up to about 10,000 RPM, which was the same as everyone back at the time. Right, Ford Cosworth engine. Cosworth, allegedly named in Formula One, supplied engines all the way up to 2013, right, and then pulled out. So Colin Chapman was technical director. Maurice Philippe was the chief designer of the Lotus 49, Lotus 43. So yeah, I'm just gonna bring up something. Just give me a sec. Ah, that's why. Okay. Uh, just wondering about a certain model I've got of the car, which is the Lotus 38, which could go into because that's all about the Indy 500. It's the first one rear-wheel car where rear engine car, I think, to win the Indy 500. But anyway, back to what we were doing is after a first difficult year for Lotus in the 3-litre formula because they upped the power, doubled the power, and doubled the size of the engine. And taking inspirations from early designs, particularly the Lotus 43 and Lotus 38 IndyCar. So they made a special IndyCar back then so they can include the IndyCar in the World Championship, because IndyCar actually counted to the World Championship in a few years. The F1 car was to be powered by the Ford Cosworth DFV engine after Chapman convinced Ford to build an F1 power plant. Right, that cost about $100,000 to do that, and yeah, in testing, Graham Hill found the Lotus easy to drive and responsive, but the power of the Ford engine difficult to handle at first. The V8 would give sudden bursts of power that Hill had reservations about. After his first run in the car, he said in typical witty fashion, "I got some poke, and not a bad dog at all." However, Jim Clark won its debut race, Ernst Zandvoort, with ease and took another 3 wins during that season. So in total, it had 42 races in total, and it ran from 1968 until 1970. And 1970, they built the 72 around about the same time, but sometimes they would rather have gone back to the 38. Because back then it wasn't so strict like the rules we have now, which is why you'd had engineers test to their limits. So you know what I mean. So and so they push the boundaries even more. Now it's more restricted to make it more safe. Because back then the first requirement was to make it fast. It wasn't to make it safe. So yeah, and the organisers didn't feel that it's down to them for safety. So they had a completely different attitude to life and death back then, or the way of racing. So yeah, and so it done 42 races, 12 wins, 23 podiums, 19 poles, and 13 fastest laps. Won 2 constructors titles in 1968 and 1970. 2 drivers' titles from Graham Hill in 1968, who wrapped up the championship after losing one of the icons of Formula One and such a major force in that team, Jim Clark, and Jochen Rindt, who won it in 1970 as the only posthumous world champion in Formula One, and hopefully will stay like that wait, we don't have another incident anymore in Formula One. He passed away after a crash at raced it and won the first Grand Prix, and then that was it. And yeah, it gradually carried on, and then obviously the 49C was where I think they put graphics on the aerodynamics on the car. So yeah, big up Anthony in the chat. How are you? Big up yourself. Make sure you like and share that, please. Please hit the share button, subscribe button, right? And you want to subscribe because we've got things coming. We've got the membership scheme coming. That should be sorted by not next week, not this week, the end of next week. I would expect it to be done by the end of next week, and we'll have it all set up ready for you to become a member. We'll also have our we're also making big things during doing that week. Take that week to do big things to the channel to make it better, more quality, better intros, everything. Try and make it a lot better for you guys. You want to keep it locked here because we've got big things coming for next season. So, but yeah, the Lotus 49 was just the way they managed to build the car and integrate the chassis and the engine together was why it was one of the iconic cars in Formula One, right? And now you see the cars that you have now and you think, geez, right, is like, why didn't they do this or that or this or that? But they didn't know about it at the time. They didn't have the technology. So yeah, man, it's amazing. It's amazing as well how these drivers got in cars like these and raced them as well, knowing that if a tire blew out, something went on the car, they make a mistake, they go into a barrier and they can end up dead quite easily. Seatbelts weren't actually introduced until I think 1967, because they believed it was better to be thrown from the car rather than stay in it. That's just how amateur back in the day it was. So big up, Miss Mel. Hello, welcome back home, Stephen. Thank you very much. Yeah, just pain in the ass hospital as usual. But yeah, man. Lotus 49 is an old car, but it did run over 200 mile an hour. That's the point, right? It was so light, it was just so fast. And especially back in them days, because they didn't know, like I said, didn't know much about aerodynamics and downforce. So cars did run quite fast back in them days. And plus the circuits didn't have many corners as we have now. Don't have technical sections unlike Monaco or something like that. So yeah, so of course it would be very, very fast in a straight line. Yeah, so like Clark, like I said, won his first race in 1968 with his car, the South African Grand Prix and the Tasman Series in Australia, but was killed in an F2 race at Hockenheim. He took over as team. Hill took over as team leader and won his second title after clinching 3 Grand Prix wins, including the 4th Monaco Grand Prix win of his career. Joe Seaford also drove the 49, owned by Rob Walker, to win the British Grand Prix at Brands Hatch that year. The last time the car entered by a genuine privateer won a Formula 1 championship race, so he was the last one to do that. The 49 also took Roy Ockham to his first victory in 1969 at Watkins Glen, New York, before he drove the Type to its last win in 1970 in Monaco. And then they brought out the 72, which followed on from that. And we could follow on from that next week, actually, to be honest, because that was a sick car. Like, it looks so more advanced than any other car on the grid at the time. right, with the air boxes and the way that it designed and the way it designed and everything. So yeah, hello, Solo, how are you? Please smash that like button. Please smash that like button. Share it. Get people involved. Right, BS. Yeah. Bargav, hello, Steve. Bargav, do you want to come on for 5 minutes? I've got the link in the chat, man. And talk about the Lotus 49 and see what you think of it. I'll put the link in the chat again if anyone does want to come on. But yeah, there's not much more I can say, man, because I'll just be going over things and I'm trying to think of things to say about it, but I'm shattered. But yeah, some of the notable drivers that drove this car, even Mario Andretti and Emerson Fittipaldi drove this car in their careers. So yeah, it was such um, a well-made car, and for its time, it was one of the perfect formulas in Formula One for its time. And I'll tell you what, and it just shows the how great this sport is and how great it pioneers the evolution of the car, going faster, going now more safely, and it's why F1 is the pinnacle of motorsport. Everyone is the brightest minds, the brightest, the biggest, the best drivers, the best teams, the brightest minds in Formula One that all come together to try and design the perfect car within the Formula regulations that there are, and why F1 is just like the absolute pinnacle, and why F1 is now like the fame that you get from winning an F1 title is beyond anything else in motorsport. By anything, by whether it's rallycross, whether it's even MotoGP, anything like that. It is, if you win the F1 title, by you are there as a star straight out. Yeah, because I mean, Lewis Hamilton, he has his own life that helps him with that, but look at his status now. Like, he wouldn't have been able to do half the things he would have been able to done if he'd not won his first one championship. So yeah, the things that that come your way after winning a championship is beyond me. But the reward teams get from winning the constructors title, and this is all because the constructors title was informed. It all used to be that back in the very first race there was no constructors title. It was just 1950. It was just the drivers title. So there was no need for teams to push the boundaries to try and win a championship, because they just give the car a driver a car and they go and race it. But as soon as they introduced the Constructors Championship in 1959, right, and that was after the great Fangio retired, the sport this sport then took off, because then all teams that were coming into Formula One now had to develop chassis, engines, all had to take their own parts, build them together, and try and come up with the best solution and best way to go fast and beat their opposition, because now they're in their own championship, let alone the drivers having their own championship against other drivers. They also have other champion. They now have teams to fight against and their own competition to fight against, which is why now when you see Formula One and you see sort of team orders go on, and we have seen it, like most notable in 2002. 2002 was just like that was just not right. It didn't need to happen. But you see some certain team orders, they're there like 1998 after Hamilton and Coulthard crashed out. Eddie Jordan and his Jordan team ended up in a 1-2 position. Brown Schumacher was going faster than Damon Hill, but Damon Hill asked, they gave the suggestion they might want to keep the position, and Eddie Jordan said to Ralph, "Keep the position, don't do it," because it was soaking wet, it was pouring with rain. They could easily take each other out. So team orders will always be there, but it's only they try and do it now to try and make sure that they get the best result for the team. And that's why, like 2014, the two teammates, Hamilton and Rosberg, knew one of them was going to win the title. But first, they had to make sure that the team wrapped up the title for the constructors first. Like, as soon as that, the gloves were off and they could fight each other as much as they wanted, because it made the difference to the team because they still won the championship. But I think this is, but again, and the formation of Constructors Championship is why we see great cars that have been driven like the Lotus and created like the Lotus 49, the 72, like the MP41, the 2014 hybrid Mercedes, and the MP44, for example. Like, these cars wouldn't have been created if the Constructors Championship wasn't there. Simple as that. Right, and we'd probably still be in the dark ages, but we'd probably be trying to make it safer at the same time. But anyway, I am now going on. So I'm going to wrap this up because, yeah, I'm going to wrap this up because there's not much else I can say about it. It's an absolute legendary car and well-respected car, and everyone who designed that car deserves like a round of applause of what they've done, because that was an epic piece of engineering. So we're going to wrap it up there. Do make sure to smash that like button, please. Do smash the like button. Where are we at on the likes? Where are we at on the likes? Come on, let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up before we end, please. Please do that now. We are on. Come on, let's get over double digits. Come on. Yeah, let's do it. That's it. Come on, let's smash that like button. Smash that like button, people. Smash that like button. Come on. We ain't going until it goes. Come on. Come on, give me one more. Give me one more. Come on. Man, honestly. Anyway, big up Alison Hibbert in the chat as well. And big up Static as well. Make sure, yeah, like I said, come on, can we get one more like? Can we get one more like? No, okay. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up there. Do make sure to smash that like button. Do hit that share button. Do hit that subscribe button, because we've got big things coming. So make sure you smash that subscribe button. So until then, make sure to stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you later on this evening with Arsenal, the best team ever. So until then, take care.